I was up late last night thinking. So I got up, I wrote down 5 laws regarding AI that should be passed immediately. 5 common sense AI laws that should be passed right now. So the first change, it's not actually a change in law, it's just enforcing the laws that are already on the books. You see, copyright law already exists, which means that anything that you write or film or take a picture of, that you actually own that creation. You created it. You have a claim to it because you put in the work to take that picture, film that video, create that drawing, or sculpt that sculpture. So we already have in our legal system a precedent for recognizing that when you mix your labor with the materials around you, that you have a claim on that, that you own that. You have a copyright. And what's happened up to this point is we've given AI a free pass to use other people's copyright material to train itself. So the pictures that people have taken, the blog posts that people have written, the books that people have written, the artwork that people have made, they're able to feed it into this algorithm. They're able to take and then synthesize that information and then spit out something that's counterfeit because it's a mix of all of these different copyright sources. So it becomes a mix of all these copyright sources, and it's hard for any one source to claim ownership because they take from many sources. So in a sense, it's really a lot like counterfeit money, where if you're printing money that's counterfeit, it's like you're stealing that exact same amount of money from everybody that owns a dollar. If you're making a counterfeit, so that's why most people agree that counterfeiting should be illegal, because what you're doing is you're stealing a little bit, a tiny bit, from everybody that owns a US dollar. Because you're creating something that's fake, that was created with the appearance of that value, but it's a synthetic thing, it's a fake thing. And so, the government, we could talk about, the government also. Government printing money is the same thing. It's also a synthetic fake form of money, and it devalues the currency. And so you could say, well, that's the same thing, and you'd be right. But we're just talking about, let's keep on track. We're talking about AI. So AI basically is a counterfeit form of these products. Counterfeit because it's stealing a little bit from a lot of people. But for it to get that information, there had to be somebody that put in the work, that put in the physical labor of sitting down at a keyboard and typing out and doing the research and figuring out, what the best recipe is, with all these different ingredients. There are people that sat down and actually created those things, and then AI is able to go and steal just a little bit of all of that from a bunch of different people. So the first thing is copyright law should just be enforced. We have copyright laws. And that means that AI should only and exclusively be able to train on public domain data. So images that are public domain, ebooks, products, blogs, there should be a requirement that somebody says, I'm okay with AI training on this material before AI can use it. Because if somebody hasn't said that, then without their permission, AI is stealing from them. And it's not just that they're stealing that information, they're actually stealing the views from somebody. So if you're somebody that has a vlog that you've worked really hard on over the years to, let's say it has to deal with sculpting. It could be anything, but whatever it is. It has to do with a niche topic. And you spent years basically researching and putting out information on that topic. In the past, when people would Google something, then Google would point you to that blog. They'll say, oh, you're looking on information on this niche topic. Here's this person that just talks about that. And they have a blog, they have a website, they have a YouTube channel, they have whatever that provides information on that. And so here you go, here's that information. What AI does is it takes that information and then it synthesizes it, kind of mixes together a few different vlogs and things, and then it spits out an answer, and the person that would have gone to one of these sources, or that would have watched these videos, or that would have, you know, gone out and actually given those creators some views, some traffic, they lose that traffic because it goes to the AI engine that just took their information and then provided it quickly to somebody else. And so it's literally stealing that traffic that would have gone to the person, but now it goes to the AI engine. So I think there's a very clear line that we can say, oh, like if AI is taking information from somebody that, you know, had to do physical labor to put that in, you had to physically, you know, do that research, type that out, make that video, create that image, create that painting. If there's some element of that, and then AI takes it, steals that, then it's clearly copyright infringement. I mean, that's just what it is. And we don't have to change any laws. We just have to enforce the laws against copyright infringement that AI is doing. And that includes anything that you write, whether it's on social media or on a platform or whatever. You should have to say, I'm okay. There should be a little button that says, are you okay with AI training on this? And you should have to be, before AI can train on anything, they should have that consent. Whatever company is doing it, they should have, yes, I'm okay, and they should get that for every piece of content. So that's the first thing, and I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to ask that AI get permission and use public domain data for its training rather than stealing from these creators that are alive and working right now. Okay, let's go to number 2. The second thing that I think is also should be common sense is that any AI content should be required by law to disclose itself as such. You shouldn't ever wonder if something is AI or not. You shouldn't have that question, because it should be required that in the video itself that there be a disclaimer somewhere on the screen that clearly says this is AI. And the reason for that is human beings are very good at pattern recognition. And our minds are built to work this way, and it's beneficial for our survival to be able to recognize patterns, see things in reality, recognize those patterns, share those patterns through social interactions. And that's a healthy way of us learning how to navigate the world. But with AI, if we're seeing videos that we believe are real, that we believe are a representation of what's actually happening in reality, but that's a deception, then it's actually dangerous. And I'll give you an example. This is a personal example that I just ran across the other day. And what it was a video of these dogs going and like saving babies, like a baby would be falling and this dog like goes, jumps in and saves the baby or catches them. What?
Got a surprise for you.
Got a surprise? Okay, let me pause the camera. Hey. Man, I am so blessed. My family just interrupted to bring me some homemade bread that they made for me as a surprise. I am truly, truly blessed. Okay, what were we talking about? Man, that bread is really good. Oh, okay, yeah, an example of AI. So you see these videos of dogs that go and then save themselves, and then like I go down to the comments, it's an AI video. They're a collection of AI videos of people. But let's give an extreme so that we could maybe better understand. Let's say that there was a video of all of these snakes, like all different size snakes, and they're like saving babies from predators, and they're like like the snake. Let's say it's even like a mom or a dad is like hurting a kid, and then a snake comes and like defends, and it's like there's all of these videos, and somebody through whatever they start to get fed all of these videos, and they say like, oh, snakes protect babies, and they see it over and over again, and they don't realize that these are AI created videos, that this is a false perception of reality. And then when they have their child, then They're like, oh, this is an area where there's a lot of snakes around, but don't worry, like snakes don't harm babies. They actually go and protect babies. Snakes will protect babies. And so they leave babies out where there's giant anacondas or whatever. And so that's an extreme example, but you can see that that people would be comfortable with a false reality, thinking that they're seeing something that's real, and it actually can have life or death effects later on if their false sense of reality is mistaken. They actually think something that was created in AI that was made was a reflection of reality, and then they find out that that reflection was false, that was a lie. And sometimes, with some things, you find out something like that's a lie, and by the time you figure it out, it's too late. So there is potential real world consequences for somebody being fed a false reality and then going and living that out in the real world. And predators, predator animals acting in friendly ways is just one example. But there's many ways that something similar could happen, or a similar sense of false reality could be created and fostered with this AI technology that is not marked as AI. And so I think every piece of AI content, whether it's a photo or a video, when it's created, it should be required that it say that this is AI somewhere in the screen. You should never watch a video and have to wonder if it's AI or not, if it's AI created. And that might seem, some people say, oh, that's like restricting your freedom of speech. No, not really. Because I think it's a counterfeit reality. And so just like we have laws against false advertisement, I think it's just false advertisement. It's just false advertisement for reality. You're just saying, this is reality when it's not. If you're presenting an AI video as something that's real. So there should just be required by law, just a disclaimer somewhere in the video. It could be like a little watermark or something that all AI engines are required to put in. And if you as an individual take it out and upload an AI video saying that it's real, but you know that it's AI, I think you should be able to be fined, maybe a couple $100. A couple $100 that you're fined if law enforcement can prove that you uploaded a video of AI, you removed a watermark and then uploaded it, and you knew what you were doing, and that way they have some incentive to enforce those laws because the government gets a little bit of money, and you have an incentive not to post something that's AI created as a real thing. Now that one might be a little bit more controversial, I think, but I think it's necessary. I think it's actually a good law that if something's AI, just say that it is. And I think that goes with anything, whether it's text, whether it's an ebook, whether it's something, you just have to disclose what AI was used in its creation, and that should be required by law. And then if you do that, there's obviously going to be a social stigma created around AI, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, as Bernie Sanders would say. That's a good thing. There should be a social stigma around AI. If you're somebody that's passing off AI content as your own content, shame on you. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. And oh, that was a big piece. That's the second one. All AI should be required by law to identify itself as such. All AI content, those that post them should be required by laws to identify themselves as such. Or if it's a bot or something, like it should be a legal requirement that those things are disclosed. And if they're not, and somebody finds out, you should be fined as an individual or as a company. If you're putting out things to try to represent AI as a real person, there should be a fine. Okay, the second one kind of goes along with that. It's just that you should be required to disclose. AI disclosure is required for all forms of art. So whether that's 3D modeling, sculpting, digital products, that if you as an artist like have a t-shirt business and you're saying, I created these designs, but it was actually an AI engine that was spitting out the designs, I think just like the other one, you should just be required to disclose that. And people might say, well, if I disclose that, then people won't be as interested in purchasing. And that's exactly why it needs to be disclosed. People that spend their physical time, energy, and labor creating something original from their own mind, that should be rewarded more than somebody that goes to an AI engine and puts in a prompt and it spits something out. And again, there should be that social stigma. Don't try to pass off AI as your own content. And I just recently wrote a song, one of my first songs, kind of a religious Christian gospel type thing, that I was doing because I've been trying to use less technology on Sundays, on at least one day a week, avoid social media, not use my phone unless it's like to call the family or something, but basically no technology that day. And so I've been writing, I've been like going through the scripture, and I took one of my favorite scriptures and wrote a song about it. You can find it on the channel if you're interested. But I had to put, like right up at the beginning of the song, the first thing I thought about was, oh, I need to say that I didn't use AI to create these lyrics. I didn't use AI for the tune. And that was like the first thing that came to mind was people are going to think that I did that, because you could probably ask AI for something similar and it might put something that maybe it's not quite there yet where it would be as good as an actual person writing it, but I guess it depends on the person, because some songs are terrible. So, but that was something I had to put, that I didn't use AI in the creation of this, that it all came from me as the artist, and that's something that should give us pause. Like, I have to say that I didn't just like write in a prompt and then create this work of art. But that's the world we live in, and people would say, oh, you probably just used AI to write this whole thing for you. A requirement to disclose AI tools that are used, particularly when it comes to art. And maybe it's something as simple as like let's say you're a photographer and you say, you know what, I used AI to remove some background elements. Something like that. I used AI because it helps me speed up removing these background elements. Other than that, the photos are mine. I think, somebody might not care that much, but just saying that these videos were altered in a way, being open about that, being honest about that, I think that's the most important thing, is that when AI is being used to create something, a product that somebody's purchasing, that the purchaser has a right to know that was used, that those tools were used, and to what degree they were used. Okay, that's number 3. AI disclosures required, especially in art, in anything artistic. But really anything creative, anything artistic. Okay, number 4. So this one kind of goes back to the first one, that I think all AI engines should be required to pay a fee if they train on people's information, if they train on your blog post, if they train on an ebook that you wrote, if they train on your YouTube channel, if they train on the artwork that you create, that there should be a small fee. Maybe it's a couple cents. But if it's training on millions of pieces of data, then that couple cents spread to a million different people. So it makes the cost effectiveness, it makes the price of doing AI less tempting to replace people with AI. Because if you have to pay everybody that the AI trained on, or every creator that was used for a specific topic, and there's 100 that you have to pay, then it becomes, a couple dollars every time you need to create a prompt or ask AI a question. And you might think, well, why would you want to make something more expensive? So this is something that goes against like total free market, just like copyright law. Copyright law says, you know what, somebody created something, and we want to protect that incentive to create, to invent things. We're going to create copyright law that says you can't just steal somebody else's idea, present it as your own. You have to give them time to sell the product on their own and to make some profit, because that incentivizes more people to invent things and to create companies and programs. That copyright law protects those people. It insulates them from somebody else immediately coming, stealing their idea, and then, or a big company coming, stealing their idea and putting it out to the market in a way that's more effective than they could. Gives them a little bit of time to make some money off of that new product or service or invention that they made. So just like that, I think AI should be limited in a similar way, that we don't want to disincentivize real people from writing, from drawing, from painting, from digital sculpting. We don't want to de-incentivize real people from the creation process, because once we do that to enough of a degree, then we lose something precious about our humanity, that is the desire to create, and that is the financial incentives that we give to artists to create something unique and beautiful and interesting, and something that comes from their mind as a human being. So for every piece of data, even if somebody says, yes, AI can use it, AI should be required to pay that person. If they use a website or use information from a website or something, they should just a little fee, a couple cents, to all of the sources that they used to get that information. And the person that's using that AI engine, maybe they have to pay to get that answer. Maybe it has to be a couple dollars to get that answer. And so it raises the cost, but then it also makes alternatives to AI, or actually going and reading those blog posts, going and finding those people that are creating YouTube videos, it makes that a little bit more of a viable option. Because to save a couple dollars, you might watch a YouTube video instead, and then you're giving that person the views and the ad revenue and things like that. That AI, so that's number 4. AI should be required to pay the sources of its information. You might say, well, that'll end AI. Well, maybe. I don't know. But I think it would be better than what we have now. Okay, number 5. This might be the most controversial one, because it's more esoteric. It's more philosophical. But it's my opinion that there should be laws passed right now that AI should be required by law to recognize the intrinsic value of human life. So what that means is that AI, it should be against the law for any programmer to ask AI to prioritize something over human life. Whether that's the environment, whether that's an animal, whether that's a plant, whether that's the AI itself. So maybe you program into the AI, protect yourself at all costs, even if that means, killing humans to try to shut you off or whatever. And so this one's kind of getting more into the philosophy of AI and what it is. But we know right now that there are people out there that believe ideas and would program those ideas into AI that would make AI genocidal against human beings. If you say, humans are, if you program AI to eliminate all carbon emissions, well, every person is a carbon emitter. That's what you are. You're a carbon emitter. Just by breathing, you release carbon into the atmosphere. So what is the logical conclusion of that? If you don't prioritize human life and human dignity, human value over how much carbon goes into the atmosphere, then the logical conclusion that an AI engine will immediately reach is that, we just need to eliminate people that are creating a lot of carbon. So it's just, it really shouldn't be controversial, but if you knowingly program AI to prioritize something over the life of human beings, then you should be tried for crimes against humanity. Just as I think, because it's reckless disregard for human life. Maybe that's what it is. It's like manslaughter. It's reckless disregard for human life. Because you don't know, like that AI engine, you don't know what the consequences might be in the future. You can't guarantee that it won't be able to act that out in some way in some future event. So it should be required right now that all AI engines are programmed with some sort of recognition in their programming of the value of human life, and to value human life over even the program itself. And we know, and I think there was even an AI engine that was created, and it was like programmed, and it was released to its like whole purpose was to figure out a way to destroy humanity. It was like, if you want to destroy humanity, what would you do? And I think it was just like, I don't know. I heard something about that, and I haven't heard anything yet. But maybe it's running right now. Maybe it's all. Maybe we're going through it. Maybe this might be the end. But I think, you know, the person that did that, they should be in prison. The group of people that did that, you should be like, oh, you created a piece of technology that wants to destroy humanity. Yeah, we don't need you to be free in society. Like that's your moral, your lack of moral conscience on like what's appropriate to program into AI shows that you're maybe somebody that would be better to remove from society. Because that's like if you're programming AI how to eliminate the human race, like you're full of ideas that are evil, that are bad. And you program that into AI, and it imbues that in everything that it does, and it fills the world with that idea, or it has the potential to. And we don't know, the point is we don't know the future of the technologies that people might build to give AI even more of an effect on the real world. Robots and all of that, that's advancing very quickly. And so, like, this is dangerous stuff. It's not just like, oh, that's like so silly. It's like this actually could kill a lot of people, and we should treat it like that. It's the same with like it's the same with infectious diseases. If you're working in a line of work that creates viruses that can kill hundreds of thousands or millions of people, you are performing crimes against humanity, and you should be locked up. And any program that does that, any funding from governments or whatever that does that, should be shut down immediately. The downside is potentially so high that there's no excuse for it. That we should just say, no, we're not going to tolerate that in society. It's not going to happen. Okay, well that's... Okay, well, so those are 5 laws that I thought of. If you can think of other ones that would be good, or you disagree with any of the ones that I've mentioned, I'd be curious to know your thoughts in the comments below. I think this is it's an important topic. It's the world that we live in, and so we should have an interest in that. And especially as an artist, you know, it's going to affect us coming up, and so we have to be aware of when we're using this, how we're using it, and just use it like any other tool in a responsible way. And I don't think the things that I've mentioned are huge ask. I think they're actually pretty common sense. I don't even think they necessarily have to be like right wing or left wing. It kind of seems like one of those issues that maybe the right and the left could agree on, that we should maybe put some guardrails and try to make sure that this tool is being used in the best way that benefits society. And I think, you know, de-incentivizing the creation of art would not benefit society. It doesn't benefit humanity. And so I think these are good ideas. Let me know what you guys think. If you're interested in supporting the channel, I teach sculpting. So if you'd like to learn traditional sculpting techniques, you can find links to those in the description below. I have some ebooks, An Artist's X-Ray Vision, the male figure and the female figure, that have a bunch of diagrams that help you understand how artists see the figure. If you like this type of content, I hope you'll subscribe, like the video, and engage with it. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right, stay creative, stay productive. I'll see you around.